What's happening? All right, it's Tuesday. You already know, guys and girls, you already know it's Tuesday. It's Transformation Tuesday. We're going to talk about transformations. It's Transformation Tuesday. All right, you already got the point, so I don't have to yell anymore. All right, y'all, I hope you're having a sick day, guys and girls and guys, what's happening? When you join, let me know how your day is going, all that good stuff. All right, so let's talk about it. The three biggest transformation mistakes, I will say for me at least, and for most of my clients, the three biggest, and probably you too, the three biggest transformation mistakes that we all sort of like experience or go through. We're going to talk about them, how I went through them, how some of my clients went through them, and even if you are going through them, you might be able to relate as I go along with this live stream podcast. So soon, I'm probably going to have an answer that's coming your way. And if you do have a question, drop that question down in the comments. I'm going to get back to you after I do my little rant and talk a little bit about what we have to talk about today. No, I won't be taking anybody on live. So please don't request, but I do appreciate it. Thanks, Clark, for joining. All right, guys and girls, I hope you're having a sick Tuesday. Hope you're enjoying yourselves. Hope you're doing what you got to do. Hope everything's in order. Hope everything is in line. Let me just pin the conversation chat over here, right, on Instagram. So we know what we're talking about on Instagram as we are streaming on multiple platforms at the same time. All right, so let's talk about it, yo. The three biggest transformation mistakes. Let's not cut corners. Let's jump right into it, right into the meat and potatoes, yo. Let's jump right into it. So the first out of the three mistakes that I did, some of my clients did before they joined, and even when they did join, and something that you're probably doing right now, probably might not even know you're doing. The number one thing, the first thing is rushing the process. Rushing the process. So, like, what do I mean by that? Like, rushing the process isn't like, okay, you have a goal, you set your goal. It's whatever to lose 5 pounds, 10 pounds, let's say 20 pounds before the new year, just because we're at this time already. So your goal is to lose 20 pounds by the new year. And the way you want to go about it is you want to lose all 20 pounds before the new year. Okay. And that's okay. If it's your goal, it's your goal. I'm not going to tell you what goal you should or shouldn't make. But rushing the process looks like so you want to lose 20 pounds immediately. And what you do is you literally starve yourself, without much like education. You eat only salads or whatever you think is healthy without much education or knowledge to get you to a point where you can actually lose that weight in a healthy manner because that deadline means so much to you that even if you jeopardize your health, we'll say, even if you feel weak, even if you feel like you're suffering is more important, rushing is more important than actually getting to the goal in a healthy manner. And this is a conversation I actually had with somebody yesterday. I'm not going to name any names here, but if you watch this and you remember our conversation, shoot me a DM and we're going to laugh together. But he mentioned to me he wanted to lose 35 pounds, okay, and that he wanted to lose it at a rate of 5 pounds per week. And personally, and the studies will back this up, that's actually quite unhealthy to lose 5 pounds a week of any mass on your body, right? So he wanted to lose 5 pounds a week, and I was instructing him like that would be extremely rushed. That isn't something that I would recommend that you do, right? And the reason why I wouldn't recommend it, and I explained to him, and I'll explain to you guys right now, is because when you rush the process of transforming your body, specifically when you're losing fat, again, there's its own flip side when it comes to building up muscle, but we'll talk about that right after. When you are burning fat, transforming your body in the sense of like losing the fat, burning fat, getting smaller, fitting into smaller sizes. When you start to lose more than 2 to 3 pounds of weight 2 to 3 pounds of body weight per week, what starts to happen is not only will your body lose the fat, which is good. Not only will your body drop the water weight, which is amazing, but you will also lose muscle tissue. Okay, you'll also lose muscle tissue. The slower rate that you lose weight, the slower rate that you burn fat, and the slower rate that you transform your body, guys and girls, the more muscle you can retain, the more muscle you can even build potentially while in that state of deficit. And I'm not here to argue whether or not you can or can't do it. You can definitely build muscle and if not retain muscle as you lose weight. And the reason why it's so important and why I keep talking about muscle during this fat loss process, even though we're focusing on fat, is because the more muscle you have on your body, and this is something you might want to write down, guys and girls, the more muscle you have on your body, the easier it is for you to burn fat. So when you're burning fat, you want to keep as much muscle as possible on you so that it's as easy as possible and you're less likely to hit a plateau. This happens because your body is closer to being in an anabolic state. An anabolic state just means that you're burning a lot more calories rested than you would be otherwise. And the reason and to be in an anabolic state, you have to have, a little bit of muscle on your body. Even if you have fat on your body, you have to be increasing the amount of muscle that's on your body or be fairly lean, right? And if you're working towards increasing muscle on you and dropping fat at the same time, you're working towards being leaner. Hence, is why you're closer to your anabolic, to being in the anabolic range to have that effect with your muscles, right? So when people often tell me, I just want to lose weight so much, so fast, like immediately, like I just rush through it and just get it done. I just sit there and like I question their motives or I question their intelligence, not in like in any way where I'm being demeaning, but I just want to know where they're coming from so that I can understand, why it's so important for them to get to where they want to get to, because it is a goal of theirs. But also, I want to get them to understand why it's important to also take the slower approach, as I said, between 1 to 3 pounds of weight, we'll say, off a week, because you still will lose muscle inevitably. Like it's just going to happen. But to be in control and to lose less muscle is what you want, because it's going to make burning fat a whole lot easier. And not only just burning it, but keeping the fat off. Okay. And not a lot of people know that. Like, just it's just facts. Not a lot of people know that. Most people don't, which is why they hire coaches, right? So that also ties into number two. Number one was rushing the process, trying to lose too much weight too fast. It's gonna, you're gonna lose a lot of muscle, and then you're gonna hit that point. You have to starve yourself to get there. It's not sustainable. You cannot, maintain those habits to get your weight off, because once you get to that spot, it's almost like a plateau, and then anything that you eat is just going to put weight right back on you, and it's not the good kind of weight you want. As I said, the flip side of losing weight too fast, which would be gaining weight too fast, bulking, which I don't do, I don't get my clients to do. The flip side that would be for bulking is the slower that you put on the size, the weight, the slower you grow, the more lean mass you actually accumulate as well. So the slower in either direction is the better, is the more rewarding direction, is the more rewarding, we'll say, method, simply because it takes more time to put on muscle. Muscle is more calorically expensive. It's a denser tissue, right? Fat of 5 pounds can look like this, and fat 5 pounds can look like this. Or sorry, for 5 pounds can look like this, right? So fat for 5 pounds, muscle for 5 pounds, because muscle's a whole lot denser, but it requires a whole lot more calories just to keep it on your frame. Okay, hope that makes sense to you guys. It goes. If that makes sense, drop a fire comment in the or fire emoji in the comment section. I want to know that y'all are following through, or if you're watching the replay, just drop a fire comment down in the comments. You know what it is on either YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, or Instagram. All right. So the first thing we talked about was rushing the process. That is like one of the three biggest mistakes you can ever make in a transformation journey that even I made, because I used to bulk, right? And I used to try to put on as much size as I could, as fast as I possibly could. And that didn't work out in my favor. I did get stronger rapidly, but I didn't like my waist size increasing. If my mentality, it wasn't really that good, because if you've ever bulked in the past before and you've been lean in the past, you'll know you get that body dysmorphia feeling really like, we'll say, I don't want to use that metaphor because it makes me laugh, but we'll say the body dysmorphia sort of effect is multiplied when you have been lean and you bulk and you look in the mirror. You're like, I used to look way better than this. I understand that I'm larger and the whole goal is to gain muscle, but it's just worth sacrificing my mental health. It's just worth, making it a little bit more difficult for me to breathe. And even though it wasn't difficult, I'm not saying like I was like obese, but I'm like, my BMI was 31, 32, which clinically is obese, at the peak of my pulse, right? And I've done it like a couple of times, right? But I realized I don't need to actually, after doing it a couple of times and making that mistake and feeling nauseous all the time, when it comes to scarfing down the meals, drinking the water consistently every day, I don't need to do it, right? I just need to focus on making sure I'm hitting my protein, hitting my carbs on whatever specific day that I'm training, on my fats, of course, and staying at either maintenance calories or slightly in a deficit to be able to grow lean muscle. So I'm focusing on growing lean muscle, yes, but at the same time, we'll say, handling another problem, by burning fat at the same time. So you can burn fat and build muscle at the same time in your transformation journey. That's a thing that not a lot of people believe or know. So that's one thing I want to bring to your guys and girls' attention. Not doing enough research is the second topic. The first one is rushing. The second one was not doing enough research. If you don't know what you are doing, like what I just explained right now, not a lot of people know that aren't coaches or athletes, right? If you don't know what you're doing, guys and girls, it's like you're literally, I don't want to say you're just wasting time, but you're wasting time. And you could even be rushing too, right? You can be doing the first mistake that I made and the first mistake that you are probably making and that many of my clients made where you're rushing, but you're rushing in like the wrong fucking direction because you have absolutely zero clue where you're going. You've not done your research. And this is something that I did too when I was bulking too. Like it was pretty much bro science. It was like, Matt, you want to get big? Yeah. All right. So eat big to get big. So I ate big, I got big, but I realized there were so many of the bad things that came with it that I didn't really need or want, especially having to cut a lot of the weight that I put on simply just to show the lean muscle that I acquired when I could grow lean muscle and burn fat at the same time. So I would actually eventually get to skip that part of having to cut. Right. So that came with research. That came with, reaching out for help, because before I was just doing trial and error. Like, yes, I did do research in the past as well, but I stopped, which is for no, like just for no reason, something that you could have done too. I stopped. So I was like, okay, well, bulking. I'm already bulking. Why am I going to research and looking at the things that I'm not probably going to be doing? Right. So I apply what I was researching, which is very important, but not doing enough research. Like doing research is good, but not doing enough research will set you back. You'll have your tires spinning in one direction and heading nowhere real fast, right? So, like, look at the patterns right now, guys and girls. If you're doing anything right now to transform your body, like if you're doing anything at this point in time to either put on muscle, 5 pounds, 10 pounds, whatever have you, or lose 20 pounds of fat, burn it. Ask yourself, what are you doing to get that fat off? Has it been working? Also, how long have you been trying to make this work? Because trial and error is a thing. I believe that, you should try it before you switch it. Again, it's part of application. You're going to research and apply your research so you can see if it works or not, or how efficient it is. And then you can either, decide to keep it in your program, your own protocol, or decide to switch it out and get rid of it completely, which is what I ended up doing with bulking. I switched it out completely. I didn't want to, have to force feed myself, drink a whole shit ton of water every single day and train, with pretty much a bloated stomach all the time and always full when I can get the same amount of muscle, if not a pound or two less, which is okay because you lose more muscle when you are coming down from a big bulk anyway in a cut. I realized it's better to just stay slightly in a caloric deficit or at maintenance level calories instead of going to like 4 or 5,000 calories. Just keep my water the same between 4 to 5 liters a day, something I can tolerate, and work out for a longer period of time in terms of just being consistent, and that will pay me off better as it did because not only will I be putting on lean muscle mass, I've also skipped the process where I've got to do that ridiculous amount of cutting. I used to have to cut like 35, 40 pounds to make weight for a show. Now I only really just do 20, 25, at most 30, at most. And it's not a difficult 30 now because most of it is water as opposed to actually being hard fat that was accumulated at the peak of a difficult bulk, right? So, guys and girls, I want you to be aware of this. The first thing was rushing the process, whether you're losing burning fat or putting on muscle. Rushing the process is like one of the biggest transformation mistakes you could ever make in your journey because your body isn't meant to rush things. It's meant to go on a sustainable like in a sustainable manner where there's a pattern you can follow that you can actually follow once you're done hitting that goal and it doesn't feel like it's stressing you out or like it's too much or it's like too taxing on your system. You should be able to follow through with the same exact tips and tricks and knowledge that you applied to get yourself into your transformed state for the rest of your life. Like it should be sustainable. You should never have to crash diet and rush to burn fat because you're gonna drop muscle and then you're gonna hit this plateau. You're gonna feel extremely weak. It's not gonna benefit you, and then you're gonna end up back where you started. And then the same thing goes with bulking. You start bulking to a point where there's like a what they call now perma bulk. We laugh sometimes in the gym, but perma bulk, you just start eating and eating and eating. And then you get to a point where like, well, I understand that, eat big to get big, and you never stop eating, and now you are fat. you've accumulated so much fat and water that it's going to be hard for you to cut. And I know it's happened to some bodybuilders that I know, right? So bulking, cutting, that whole vigorous cycle. It's like I've minimized it, decided to just put on lean mass as I go, stay in a slight deficit, caloric deficit, and just keep it easy, move forward. And the last thing, guys and girls, and this one I think a lot of you will definitely 100% relate with. The third biggest transformation mistake in my journey, and that's probably going on in your journey, is it's pretty big. It's a mental block. It's setting goals that are like what we call too realistic. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. But setting goals that are like too realistic often looks like you telling yourself that whatever it is that you think you can achieve is just not achievable. That's essentially what you're telling yourself. You say, okay, well, I want to lose 20 pounds by New Year's. So we're October, then there's November, then there's December, then there's January. We'll call it 2.5 months. Okay, well, no, we'll call it just 2 months. So in 8 weeks, you want to lose 20 pounds. That's about, say, 10 pounds a month, which is about 2.5 pounds per week. And if you remember what I was talking about earlier, 1 to 3 pounds a week is fair to lose weight. Of course, the less amount of weight you lose per week, the more muscle you can retain. The easier and the less taxing it'll be in your system to lose the weight. Like you won't even feel like you're in a diet. Like you'll still be eating a good amount of food, right? But the more you lose per week, the more you have to pay for that in your food and eat less per se, just to make it very, very simple. So you might be looking at yourself and like, oh shit, I don't think it's possible that I could, lose 2.5 pounds per week. Maybe I'll try to lose 1 pound per week, which is honestly amazing. And I would argue it's better. But because you are looking at your goal and you're saying that it's just not realistic enough for you to lose 2.5 pounds per week. And just disclaimer, my client lost 3 pounds last week, right? So one of my clients lost 3 pounds last week. It's definitely possible, definitely realistic, but you don't view it as possible. So you don't think it's realistic. And that's why you're gonna say I want to lose 1 pound a week, which honestly, it's still a good goal, right? But having that mental perspective of undercutting yourself because you think you're less capable than, that's one huge mistake that you're making in your fitness transformation journey. Believe me, guys and girls, like that thought is so limiting. Like for myself, my freaking goal was like, and you're gonna laugh when you hear it now because it's actually even me when I think about it sometimes, I'm like, I just shake my head. All I wanted, seriously, all I wanted was to be able to bench 2 plates, which is 225 pounds, be able to squat 4 plates, 405, and look semi decent at 190 pounds, 180 pounds. Like semi decent. Like I didn't even want to be ripped. I just wanted to like not be, I wanted to have abs at 180, 190. That's all I wanted. Maybe a little bit of legs. That's all I wanted. I knew in my heart of hearts, I really wanted more, but like that's what I told myself I'm gonna work for that. Like that's what I'm gonna get. Because that's just what I'm gonna get. And that's just my mental mind was like, my mental frame was like, no matter how hard I try, that's probably all I'm gonna get. So I just decided, I locked it in. I'm like, this is what I'm gonna do. Right. And it got to a point where I achieved that so quickly. I was able to get to 180 and look actually shredded. I got my squat to 465 instead of 405. My bench press to 345 instead of 225. All by the time I was like 19, right? So again, they set these goals when I was like in high school or whatever. And I was just working towards it. Being like a skinny kid in high school, I was like, yeah, this is probably never gonna happen. I'm just gonna like work towards it. Like we'll see what's gonna happen there. And it happened like so fast before my eyes because I was consistent. And then I got to a point where like, well, what now? Like I'm here now. Like I look the way I want to look. Then I'm like, you know what? Screw this. Because I knew in my heart that I always wanted to be like jacked. Like jacked. Like not even yes, to look good was looking good was like the we'll say was like the dollar store version of what my dreams were. The dollar store version of my dreams was to look good. My real fucking dream was to one day be a pro bodybuilder, was to one day be so massive. I actually wrote it down and damn it, have it in my journal somewhere in my closet downstairs to be so jacked to the point where I have, like 19, 20-inch arms. Because I remember at that point I was doing like this boys club thing in high school. Um, and one of the representatives who came out, one of the big brothers, we'll call him, had 20-inch arms. He was a football player from the NFL. I forgot his name. And I'm like, yeah, that looks cool. And I want that. And I'm going to get that. So deep down, that's what I wanted. But being like, skinny little 15-year-old kid, it was just like, I don't see that. Yo, what's up, Crystal? I see you, you know? And I was just like, yo, what's up, Celine? What's good? I was like, yeah, nah, this is not possible. But then when I really like sat down and took it in, how fast I was able to get the first results, like the short-handed goals. I'm like, yeah, it's not impossible for me to wish for this. So I just continued. And I actually set my goals higher to something that I didn't think was realistic as opposed to realistic. Because realistic ended up being like possible, like not even realistic. It just happened and it happened fast. And then I went and said, okay, well, now I'm going to start measuring my limbs. And I want my arms to be this size by this date, my legs to be this size by this date, so on and so forth. And I got fucking specific with these unrealistic goals. And I actually marked them off. And then once I did that, I'm like, you know what? I want to compete. And that, if I went back, a year or 2 years before and said that to myself, I'd be like, no, there's no way I said that. Because I would have believed it in my heart, but I wouldn't have like set that goal because it just didn't seem realistic enough to go compete. What does that mean for me? Like so that's what it was for me. So that ended up being my transformation journey. And one of the biggest mistakes that I made that honestly wasted so much freaking time for me was not setting that goal early enough because I was focused on setting realistic goals. Okay, like as I said, you don't want to rush. The worst thing that you can do in transforming your body is to rush, either to rush to put size on or rush to burn fat. It's the worst, right? You're either going to lose a lot of muscle when you do your cut after you bulk, or stay in a permanent bulk and not be happy about your physique. Or on the flip side, when you're cutting, lose way too much muscle or way too much tissue way too fast and lose a lot of muscle in the process, lose a lot of strength. You're probably gonna have to crash diet to get to that stage, and you're automatically gonna screw up your digestion, metabolism, so many things, hormones, all that. Right? That's what rushing comes with. That's the first biggest mistake you can ever make in a transformation journey. The second one is not doing enough research, which is probably why you're rushing too, and staying in a state of trial and error way longer than you should actually be staying in. I mean, trial and error is definitely like essential. I used it myself too, and I made these mistakes too. But when I realized that I was getting a lot more error than success in my trial, I noticed, okay, well, time to go back to the drawing board, reach out, ask for help, and then combine that help with my research from experienced individuals, not just anybody, and then watch trial and error, rinse and repeat. If things work, we stick with it. If they don't work, we change them, right? So the last thing guys and girls want to talk about for the top three biggest mistakes you could ever make in your transformation journey was the one we just talked about right now, setting goals that are too realistic. You got to step out and dream a little bit. You don't want to put yourself in a position where there's pressure because you have to rush to get there. Like if it's a time goal, be realistic with time, but don't be realistic with expectations. If it's like, I want to be an IFBB pro next week, first of all, there are no shows next week. So you can't make that goal, right? But if you want to be an IFBB pro, you set that fucking goal, yo. Write that shit down. Right? It can happen. Maybe not tomorrow. But as long as you have that goal there and you're consistently putting in your 2 cents every day, your $1 million is coming. Right? Maybe you don't want to do 2 cents. Maybe you want to invest a little bit more because 2 cents for $1 million is you might not even be alive. But you get my point. Okay. So the things that I stopped doing was I stopped rushing. I stopped just staying in a state of trial and error when I knew that there was a lot more error than success in my trial. And I actually started to reach out for help. I hired coaches, people. Yeah. People like me still hire coaches. Just what it is. There's no such thing as too much help, no such thing as too much knowledge. There's no such thing as too much experience. Guys and girls, it's always going to be worth it to expand your repertoire. It's always going to be worth it to know more, and not just to know more, but to apply more and have another pair of eyes watch what you're doing to supervise. And not only that, but to just make the process a lot seamless, a lot way more seamless by having someone that is, an expert just to send you what you need to know and you just apply it and you go on about your busy day, right? As opposed to you like taking care of that for yourself, right? So, again, I want you to start setting goals instead of dreams. Okay. And what I mean by goals instead of dreams is like a lot of people, as I said, they'll dream about it. They'll be like, oh, the next show, I'm just going to win that show. That's like my dream. Is it a goal? Is it something that you're working towards? Is it something that you can, actually say can happen? Like, is it a goal or is it a dream? Right? I don't want you to be too realistic, but you shouldn't be dreaming too. Are you doing things that are actually that have the potential to lead to that outcome? Ask yourself that. All right, so that's it. That's all, guys and girls. You know what it is. I still didn't name this podcast yet, but we're gonna come up with a name. We're gonna be recording these episodes and all that good stuff. But I do appreciate each and every single one of you on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. I'm gonna read some of the comments over here, some of the questions if I have any on Instagram and TikTok, and then I'm gonna dip out and crush the gym. All right, let's check it out. All right, all right, all right. What's up, bro? That's Akash. Jesse says, "Yo, when I got sick, I lost 20 pounds. I lost weight and muscle. Felt extremely draining. Exactly, because your body lost it rapidly, which is similar to those people that do the rush when it comes to losing weight, because they're on like a crash diet. They're not eating. They're literally not fueling their body. Their body's like going into survival mode. It's no wonder you'd feel that way. But thanks for sharing, man. Jesse, what's good? Tana, what's up? I see you. Hey, all right. Yeah, Crystal says, truth. I've done that mistake. Truth, I've done that mistake. Who's your biggest mentor in regards to patience? She asks. First of all, thank you so much for actually reaching out, not being a sitting duck and asking questions. For those of you guys and girls who don't know, Crystal underscore creations. That's KRYSTLE underscore CREATIONS. Crystal creations makes my posing trunks. So all those beautiful posing trunks you see me in on stage, she's responsible for it. So quick shout out, shameless plug. I appreciate you, homegirl. But let's answer your question real quick. She says, "What was your biggest mentor in regards, or who was your biggest mentor in regards to patience?" Hmm, that's actually a funny one because this mentors and most of the mentors, and you're gonna laugh, aren't even real human beings. They're anime characters. So you're probably gonna laugh at me for this one. Oh, damn. Patience, huh? I wouldn't say patience, I'll say perseverance because he wasn't really a patient guy. He was arrogant. He got what he wanted and he fought for it and he trained relentlessly for it. But if you've ever watched Dragon Ball Z, guys and girls, and you know who the character Vegeta is just drop a line, drop a quote in the comments. You know what he's talking about. Like Vegeta is like an asshole, but at the same time, he's so persistent. He's not patient. He's persistent. Like he's ridiculously like addicted to training to the point where it's like the only thing he like. And I'm not telling you guys and girls to do this again. He's an anime character, but the dude didn't even take care of his kids like that, man. He's like all about training. Like he doesn't give a fuck. He don't care. He doesn't care. This is me just being me, people. But what I'm saying is his persistence. Like he's the runner up in the show. He's not the strongest guy. He's like the second strongest and he's like been knowing that for a while and he's like fighting to be the strongest. So to see his like feverish like to see him still that hungry knowing he's been second for so freaking long, like he's been such an underdog for so long and he's still that hungry, like that for me makes me like that's a mentor in my eyes when it comes to like patience. Like he knows that even though there's kind of no sign of me being better than this guy at this point in time, Goku he's talking about, or stronger than him, he's still going to work ridiculously as if he has a chance each and every single day, and he's going to do that patiently, waiting until the day that he actually surpasses him. So he's one of many. Like off the top of my head, he's the first one though when it comes to patience or at least perseverance, and being able to sort of like move in a positive direction when things aren't moving in your way, right? So that's one of the biggest mentors for me, honestly, and like I just gotta say that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's from my heart. I don't have to lie about that one. Brittany, I see you there on YouTube. She says, write your goals down. Yes, exactly. Write your goals down, but don't do so just to write them down. All right. Like mean it, like fucking mean it when you write it down. Like it's not a goal. You're writing a plan down, right? You have deadlines for this plan. Remember that. Don't, stiff yourself on those deadlines, but make sure that you respect the deadlines. All right. Sean's like, Vegeta, let's go. Let's go. He knows what's up, bro. What's up? Crystal's like, I hear you. My Mr. is a big fan of the Punisher. Oh, tell him I said what's up too. What the hell? I want to know how he's doing. Let me know how he's doing. Is the Punisher. He's a superhero with no superpower. So again, there's a specific reason why he likes him. And there has to be like a story where he's growing up and that superhero, like he was him, like he resonated. Because that's how it is usually. That's always how it is. For me, it was like in the sixth grade. That's when I realized Vegeta was my guy. I'm like, yeah, you know what? We're the same boat, man. We have the same struggles, bro. You know what I mean? Because I'm a twin, right? And it was just weird because I was especially growing up, I was competing with my twin for a lot of things. Like we did football together, wrestling together, everything. right? So I always felt Vegeta vibe because, and plus he picked Goku, I picked Vegeta because I just like Vegeta's character design, whatever, as a kid. So that's what it was, though. Um, Danny Bravo says my favorite has always been Magneto. Why Magneto? What about Magneto inspires you? And Magneto's dope, by the way. He's actually a gangster. He's like a pimp, bro. That guy's he's wicked. Um, I appreciate the follow. I don't need any plumbing advice, or so that's I'm not gonna. TikTok's weird, bro. They always like ask weird questions sometimes. Hey man, how's your day going? Yo, I appreciate it. Gingy 880. My day's going all right, hanging out, about to go crush the gym right after this live stream podcast. Um, Untamed Afro. Hi, hey, what's up? Hope you're having a good day. She says, what do you do for a living? I am an online coach and a bodybuilder by profession, right? So I do what I love actually, and that's what I do for a living. Thanks for asking. Danny Bravo with the fire. What's up? Hey, Aiden, what's good? Drink your water. Drink your water. I got you, fam. I got you this time. You didn't get me. I got you first. Oh man. All right, guys and girls. That's it. That's all. We just cracked 30 minutes. It is before I leave though, because this guy, you think you can catch me slipping today? You thought you had a great idea, but it was just a thought. This is my whole leader that I'm gonna dump right after this. So where's your water, son? My God, you fucking kill me, man. Honestly, bro. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. All right, people. All right, all right, all right. You know what's good. I'm gonna be back again tomorrow with another live stream. Drink your water, folks. This guy, I'm winded. Drink your water. You know what's up. Have yourself an amazing Tuesday. Kick ass. We are out. All right, later, fam. You know what's good.